Good afternoon, all. Thank you for being here today. Today, I'm going to do a persuasive speech and try to persuade everyone in the room that marijuana should be legal in America. If not for recreational use, at least for medicinal use. I'm going to start off with a quote from the CDC. According to the CDC, marijuana is the most used drug in the United States, with more than 37.6 million people that use this each day. Marijuana has a wide range of health effects on the brain and the body. With that as an opening sentence, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm going to make this persuasive speech very proven through quotes and videos and this and that and the other. I want to prove to you that without a shadow of a doubt that it needs to be legalized. Okay? What do people do when they have something wrong with them? Like a normal human being, they go to the doctor. What do the doctors do when there's things wrong with them? They give them pills, opiates, liquid medications, pills, so on and so forth. The main ones I want to point out are the opioids. They're really hurting people. They give painkillers to dull the pain. According to the CDC, there are 46 opioid deaths each day in the U.S. This number is doing nothing but growing larger and larger. It has become an epidemic in our great nation. This number is including the number of people who overdose. That number is not including the people that overdose and survive. This medication that is being prescribed by doctors is killing Americans, and it is time to do something about it. That's why I propose legalizing marijuana. I'm not saying that this is going to be a long-term fix. I believe that it would be a perfect bandage until we figure all of the kinks out. Speaking of the fixes and deaths and such, I won't disclose any names for personal and criminal reasons. But one of my best friends almost died 3 separate times from using opioids and other prescribed drugs. Liver failure, almost heart attacks. What did he do about it? After the last time he almost died in the hospital, he went out to a local drug dealer in North Carolina and he bought an ounce of marijuana. He went home, he made cookies, he smoked blunts, he did this, he did that. Turned around, he takes no medication any longer other than smoking weed and eating weed. That's all he does for his pain. PTSD, anxiety, depression, back pain, leg pain, headaches, migraines. He takes one drug. He uses it multiple different ways. He vaporizes. He smokes weed. He eats weed. He uses oils as weed. Okay? And he has completely cut out the 37 different pills he took each single day. Since that, he has not been back to the VA hospital. I'll let you know this because if you are too stubborn to believe the statistics from the CDC or the NIH on making marijuana legal for recreation, I want you to at least see the medicinal purposes for use, the medicinal purposes that it can help. It brought my buddy back from the grave. He'd be dead right now if he didn't use marijuana and he stayed on opioids. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I went on a little bit of a ramble. It's a little bit personal to me, my buddy's life. Let me go back to the opioids addiction in the United States. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, polling data from 2002 to 2012, the incident of heroin initiation was 19 times higher among those who reported prior non-medical pain reliever use than Americans who did not. A study of young urban injection drug users interviewed in 2008-2009 found that 86% had used opioid pain relievers non-medically prior to using heroin, and their intention into non-medical was characterized by 3 main sources of opioids: family, friends, and personal prescriptions. This means that most of them got their opioids and pain medications from family or friends or from a doctor. and that led them to heroin use. The rate represents a shift from historical trends of people entering treatment for heroin addiction who began using opioids in the 1960s. More than 80% started with heroin. Of those who began opioids in 2000, 75% reported that their first opioid was a prescription drug. So we've changed from family and friends. Now 75% of them have changed to getting opioids from a doctor, and that's leading to heroin use. Examining national level general population heroin data, including those in and not in treatment, nearly 80% of heroin users reported using prescription opioids prior to heroin. 80% of heroin users reported using opioids before heroin use. If you connect the two, opioids lead to heroin. So you can see for yourself, opioid addiction can and more than likely will be a gateway to heroin and other drugs, loss of family and friends. I want to play a short video for you guys to show you one of the benefits marijuana has. Fellow Parkinson's patient offers to instruct Larry in using medicinal marijuana.
How you feeling?
It's been a rough week.
Really? The best way to take it is put it on your tongue and rub it in your cheek.
It's just one form of using medicinal
Don't do too
marijuana.
much. You're going to be asleep all night. You know what you should do? No. Don't try to communicate. Just relax. See what happens.
We know from animal experiments that the endogenous cannabinoid system is very important in regulating motor activity, the very type of activity that is impaired in Parkinson's disease. From animal experiments, we also know that boosting certain branches of the endocannabinoid system is helpful in relieving symptoms of Parkinson's. Finally, from anecdotal information, we know that certain patients who smoke marijuana experience relief of their symptoms.
I think you're calmed down.
So quickly.
Isn't that amazing?
He used just a single drop, and his hands afterwards were rock steady, and the dyskinesia left.
It was so bad.
It works most of the time.
In fact, it's. Did you guys eat lunch?
Are you hungry now?
Funny I am. Actually,
A person like me could really use marijuana. It makes me pretty angry that I can't get out of my home state.
The number one frustration that I have is knowing that there is this untapped potential that comes from what marijuana is teaching us to generate new medicines, and being stuck because of financial issues or political issues. That is extremely frustrating.
We now know that medical marijuana controls dyskinesia, and yet it's not available to us.
That's heartbreaking to know that he can't get that in his home state. I believe that I have proven that marijuana use is safer than opioid use and heroin use. Using statistic quotes from the CDC and NIH, I would like to point out that opioid use is medically legal even though it leads to heroin use. Now I want to point out that marijuana use is safer than even drinking alcohol. According to alcohol.org, premature deaths from alcohol have lost Americans a combined 2,560,290 years of their lives each year on average. That translates to 1 in 10 potential years lost for every working age American. It may be poured from a fancy bottle, served in a frosty mug, or garnished with olives, but does not negate the fact that alcohol is a drug. And like any drug, it can kill. Excessive alcohol consumption and binge drinking, defined as consuming 5+ drinks or more on one occasion for men and 4+ drinks or more for women, comes with a serious risk. 3, with this comes broken homes, homeless men and women, broken-hearted families, child abuse, spouse abuse. The list goes on and on forever. I'm not even covering the medical side of things, of long-term alcohol abuse. Alcohol is also very, very legal. I want to point that out. I will go on with another quote from the Center for Disease Control. The concept of marijuana as a gateway drug, where using marijuana leads a person to use other drugs, generates a lot of disagreements. Researchers have not found a definitive answer yet. However, most people who use marijuana do not go on to use other drugs, harder drugs. The CDC reports 0 deaths from marijuana use. It makes you wonder why it hasn't been made legal in the first place. With all of these drugs out here to kill us, and alcohol that kills us, and they're all legal, yet 0 reports of marijuana use reported, and it's not legal. So if by now you're not convinced that pot, marijuana should be made legal, I want to go over some benefits of this life-saving drug. We already saw one today. Medical news today say that it can help with chronic pain, alcoholism, drug addiction, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, social anxiety, nausea, vomiting caused by chemotherapy, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy. If we could use this as an oil rub, marijuana, on us or smoke it legally in America, America would be a better place. I hope that I've persuaded everyone here today that marijuana use should be legalized, if not for recreational use, at least for medicinal purposes. We are hurting our loved ones every day by making it not readily available and by punishing people who use it. It is a natural plant grown out of the ground, put here on this earth as a natural way to help us deal with pain and ailments. We should not keep the sick and the poorly from getting this drug. Let's work together to try to make this legal across the board. That wraps up my persuasive essay for the day. Are there any questions from anyone? All right. Everybody have a fun-filled day. See you later.